An island. Before and after construction of some tourist facilities. The two maps below show an island before and after the construction of some tourist facilities. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features, and make comparisons where relevant. Write at least 150 words. 1. Introduction. Paraphrase the question. 2. Summary. Focus on the main changes. Summarize the information in a couple of sentences. When comparing diagrams, we can count the number of changes and look for the main types of changes. 3. Paragraph comparing one specific detail. 4. Paragraph comparing another specific detail. Describing changes. We could describe the developments that took place other than the map or maps. Moreover, use a variety of alternative expressions, in which we can use differnent tense, for example, past perfect, and by use synonyms or change active form into passive form. Addition to this, do not speculate unless we are asked to. 1. Decscring the developments by changing the nouns into verbs and using the passive. There were dramatic developments in the town center. The town center was developed dramatically. There was a complete modernization of the entertainment district. The entertainment district was modernized completely. 2. Using synonyms to rewrite sentences to avoid repetition. Very few trees were left. Very few trees were remained. A marina was also constructed. A marina was also built. The maps show changes which occurred between 2000 and 2010. The maps show changes which took place between 2000 and 2010. Demolish, knock down. Replace, make way for. Chop down, cut down. Witness, experience. Give way to, make way for. Describing locations. Sometimes it is important to state locations clearly on a map. And we also need to choose the correct prepositions of place. The most common expressions of location are listed as below. South of the lake, north of the golf course, beside the railway line, in the southwest of the center, southeast of the skyscrapers, northwest of the town, in the town of, surrounded by trees, located in the south, ran from north to south, beside the sea, on the shores of the lake, off the coastline. Sample answer 1. The two maps demonstrate the changes made to an island after it was turned into a tourist resort. The holiday resort, which occupied about 3/4 of the island, consists of a reception building, a restaurant, and numerous chalets, all located within a walking distance. In addition, the reception area is also connected directly to a newly built pier, which made it more accessible by visitors. For the convenience of the guests, a vehicle track that connects the pier, the reception, and the restaurant was also constructed. To further promote the island as a holiday attraction, various spots of the island have been upgraded for recreational activities. For example, swimming is now available at the beach near the west end of the island, and sailing can be done near the pier of the resort. Overall, the transformation of the island into a vacation spot has brought much improvements to the island without any deforestation. As a matter of fact, there are now more trees in the island than before. Sample answer 2. While writing the report, in the first paragraph I have written about what things were on the island in the past. I have written, there were some trees on both sides of the island. I also have written some other things in the first paragraph. In total 2 to 3 sentences in the first paragraph. In the second paragraph, I have written about all the things/improvements which can be seen from the present map of the island. In the second paragraph, I talked about the houses, pier, swimming area, footpath, etc. After that I talked about trees like this. The trees on the right portion are still there as before. The trees on the right portion are still there as like before. Sample answer 3. The first map provides information about an island before the construction of facilities for the purpose of serving the tourists, while the second map illustrates the changes that took place in the same island after the development of the aforementioned facilities. It is noticeable that the island as illustrated in the first map contained no man-made constructions of any kind. Also, it is evident that the distance from the west to the east of the island is about 6 times more than the distance from its north to south. 2 groups of accommodation units are built in the middle 2/3 of the island, while the westmost part of the island is left as a green area with its trees. On the other side, the eastmost area is used as a beach which can be accessed from the housing units by a footpath. The 2 groups of accommodation units are separated by a restaurant and a reception, which are connected to each other and to a pier by a vehicle track. From the pier, tourists can reach ships docked at the sea, near the island. Model answer 4. The 2 maps present a plan of construction of a new resort on an undeveloped island. The small island, which is about 200 meters long and 80 meters width, has a beach on its west. Some trees are also seen at various places close to the coast. As per the new plan, on the southern coast of the island, a pier is to be placed to provide a safe port for incoming sails. A hotel with a reception and a building to facilitate the tourists are to be set in the center of the island. On both sides of these facilities, accommodation for guests is planned. The hotel, the reception, and the facility building are interconnected by a vehicle track, while between the houses, there will be footpaths. There is also a plan to create an artificial lake on the east end of the island. Overall, when compared to the initial look of the island, only the beach and some trees would be at the same place, while the general prospect of the island will change significantly. Word count, 175. Sample answer 5. The given map shows the changes made for the tourists' conveniences on an island. As it is shown on the given map, lots of new constructions took place on the island, including restaurant, accommodation, and footpath. Before the constructions took place on the island, there were no accommodation facilities there. Only few trees were present on the first map that showed the island before it was renovated for the tourists. The second map, that represents the island's view after the renovations, reveals the changes that were made for this island. A restaurant was built there and many accommodation facilities were made so that tourists can stay there. Reception area was in front of the restaurant and the accommodations were made in circles near the beach. Interestingly, trees were not cut and most of the constructions were near the beach area. Pathway for walking to the restaurant, beach, and pier were made for the visitors and boats were introduced for the tourists. In the second map, vehicle tracks could be found, which denotes the tourists' facility to use transportation system in the island. Sample answer 6. The maps depict an island before and after some renovation works for tourists and compares the changed on the island for the constructions. Generally speaking, many new facilities have been constructed for tourists, including accommodations, restaurant, swimming facilities, etc., and those have been built without affecting the natural resources that much. Before the facilities were constructed, there was only trees and beach on the island and most of the places were empty. In this island, many new tourists' facilities have been made, including accommodation facilities, restaurant, reception center, pier for boating, swimming facility on the beach, and so on. Interestingly, plants and trees were not cut down to build these constructions and most of the constructions were made near the beach. Besides, footpaths and roads for commuting have been built to facilitate the tourists. The footpaths were made to walk between the residing places and the beach, while the motor tracks were created to visit the restaurant, reception area, and pier for boating. In summary, the construction was mainly made to facilitate the tourists' stay, visit, and amusement, and for that, no plants or trees were cut. Sample answer 7. The map illustrates the changes on an island after the construction of some tourist facilities. Generally speaking, the island was deserted as no tourists' facility was there, but after the renovation, tourist amenities like the pier, restaurant, several accommodations, reception on the island, roads, etc. made it tourists friendly. The first map shows nothing on the island except some trees, but the second map illustrates the changes after the construction of facilities. A pier for the boats to land could be seen, and from there, a vehicle track leads to the reception area and then the restaurant. Vehicle track ends near the restaurant and the footpath leads tourists to the accommodation areas and to the beach. Residential areas are located on both sides of the reception with footpath connecting them. It is worth noticing that no woodcutting took place as trees are present in both maps. On the left side of the reception, the residential area is connected to the beach via the footpath. Swimming facility is available there as well. To summarize, the map summarizes that a deserted island had been turned into a tourist spot for the recreation and amusement of people without destroying natural beauty. Sample answer 8. The provided map reveals the dramatic changes in a small island that had been developed to add a number of facilities, especially for the visiting tourists. Before the renovation, this place was surrounded by sea and small beach without any building and tourist facility. East and west of the island had some coconut trees, while the rest of it was only an open space. After the construction and development, the island became very dense and useful with its infrastructure and accommodation. Some bungalows were built in the middle of the land and some others near the beach in the west. The constructor also facilitated small footpath and a tourist can easily walk through it to reach the cottage and the beach. In the southern part, a pier was constructed for landing boats and it ended with the vehicle track, leading directly to the reception and the restaurant. Activities like swimming are now available in the beach area while the open space in the east of the island remained unchanged. Sample answer 9. The map compares two stages of an island, before and after the development of tourist facilities. As can be seen, only a few trees and a beach were present on the island, but many tourist amenities were built afterwards. After the construction, significant changes have been done to increase the attraction of island, while trees and plants were not whacked to renovate the island. Many facilities like accommodations, a restaurant, a reception center, a pier for boating, footpaths, and vehicle tracks were built. Most of the developments were done near the beach area. Beside, footpaths were made to let people access the cottages and beach area, while road tracks were constructed to drive through restaurants, reception center, and pier area. In summary, after the construction, the island got ready to provide numerous facilities to tourists. Furthermore, trees and plants were present to give pleasure to its tourists, and not cutting them was a good idea for a tourist place like this island. Sample answer 10. The given maps portray an island before and after the expansion of several tourist amenities. Over the period, the island witnessed dramatic transformations from a completely bare land to a tourist stop. A beach used to be abandoned in the past, however nowadays it has become a swimming area. Next to the beach, several accommodations were built. Moreover, footpaths were built surrounding the accommodations. Moving to the north area, a restaurant was established, along with a vehicle track, which was connected to the reception in front of the restaurant. Moreover, a pier was added, making it easier for visitors and yachts to access the area. Few trees were cut to facilitate the construction, as can be seen. In summary, the island had transformed in many areas, but a bare land remained in the northeastern part. The newly added amenities would facilitate the tourists to stay and enjoy the place. Sample answer 11. Two maps of an island illustrate the differences before and after numerous constructions for tourists. We can see that a bare island was notably transformed to facilitate visiting tourists, and it did not alter the natural composition of the island. It can be seen that many tourist facilities were added to the surface of the island. It is now available for tourists to go for swimming near the beach on foot, and it connects the seashore with the accommodation and an area closed to the island center. Next to that area, there is a reception block which lies between a restaurant that is in the north of the island, and the vehicle track leads to the pier where people can go for sailing boats. Besides, many accommodations were constructed to let travelers stay on the island, and majority of the cottages are near the beach. Interestingly, those constructions did not harm the natural views of the island. Sample answer 12. The two maps illustrate the development of an island in terms of tourist facilities. Overall, it is clearly shown that there are big changes before and after the construction, while the surface area of the island remains almost unchanged. First of all, it is apparent that most of the areas of the island are occupied by accommodations which did not exist before the construction. In addition, a reception has been built in the center of the island, which is surrounded by the vehicle track. It is worth mentioning that a restaurant has also been added to the island, which is located just behind the reception, and they are linked by a vehicle track. Furthermore, a pier was constructed in front of the reception, and it was connected by a vehicle track so as to provide some leisure activities to the tourists. Last but not least, the beach located to the west of reception is now opened for the tourist to swim. Sample answer 13. The two maps present the development of an island, alongside with the new special organization after the constructions of some tourist facilities. Overall, the bare island has been renovated to facilitate the tourists. It is easy to notice that two groups of cottages have been constructed in the center and to the west of the island, serving as accommodations for tourists. Between them, a reception appeared. As compared to the cottages, which were connected through footpaths, the reception has two vehicles tracks, one surrounding the reception and one from north to south. It has a restaurant, and at the south end, it has a specially designed pier where boats come ashore. Finally, within 50 meters of the west cottages, a swimming area has been designed. A significant development could be observed on the island, but the authority kept the palm trees as they were, which spread the whole island. Sample answer 14. The given maps portray the changes that took place on an island after the construction of certain tourist facilities. According to the maps, We can immediately see that there are many establishments on the island for recreations now, but those were not present on the old map. First, a pier was constructed so that people can visit this island by boat. Second, lots of accommodations were built around the trees and those trees were kept intact. A reception was built in the middle of all accommodations, and a new restaurant is now located behind the reception. Third, on the left corner of the island, people can now go for swimming near the beach. The swimming area was designed for visitors. Last but not least, travelers can now walk around the island on the footpath. Meanwhile, vehicle tracks have connected the pier to the reception and ended at the restaurant. In summary, many tourist facilities were built on the island for the entertainment and tourist facilities without sacrificing trees. Sample answer 15. The two presented maps depict the transformation of an island after the establishment of various tourist infrastructures. In general, the island was a bare land with a beach and some trees, but now it is more tourists friendly after being renovated with several prominent changes. Looking at the details, before being renovated, the island was certainly a vacant lot with a beach on the west side. In contrast, after reconstruction, the plain island has been converted into an attractive tourist destination. Some accommodation buildings, food courts, a reception, a dock are present now. The dock enables ships to stand in. Furthermore, the beach turns to swimming area that was not utilized before the constructions. Besides, footpath and vehicle tracks also outline a noticeable difference. In fact, there were no such tracks before renewal, but now several tracks had been built. These improvements make the view of the island more promising and fascinating. Sample answer 16. The two maps illustrate the changes on an island due to the constructions and adaptations made for the tourism activities. In general, the island became more crowded with entertainment facilities after the introduction of tourism. In the first picture before the construction of tourist facilities, there was no accommodation and the whole island had almost nothing except few trees. Furthermore, the area was completely calm and quiet. However, turning to the second picture, this island provides a lot of accommodation facilities and a large restaurant. Reception block is located close to the restaurant and these buildings are linked through vehicle tracks. From the reception center, people can go to the pier through the vehicle track. Moreover, the swimming area is also available near the beach for visiting tourists. Tourists can walk on the footpath to reach the beach from their cottages. Overall, tourism facilities made greater development on this island, while it became congested. However, it is good to notice that trees were not chopped down during the renovation works. Overall, the island had witnessed dramatic shift and was transformed into a place for tourism. While the greenery had imperceptible change, most parts of the island were renovated intensively with the construction